What has two thumbs and has the most awesome mom ever? This guy. What's up, dicks and chicks? It's Pone. And last night, my night consisted of sitting down on the couch for about an hour and a half, watching my mom finish off the Walking Dead game. You know the game, the one game of the year? That's what she asked for from me for Christmas. I let her borrow one of my Xboxes. I let her play it and beat it out. And I got it to her on Christmas. She didn't start till the 26th. She finished it on the 30th. Tell me how badass is it that your mom can beat a game, you know, it takes, what, roughly 12, 15 hours to beat in a matter of like 4 days? That's a legend in the making right there, Mom. I better watch out if she takes my job. I thought that was pretty badass, though, honestly. She got really involved. She cried. We were there together. I laughed while she cried, so it wasn't like we were, you know, like cuddling or anything. But it was a great experience, you know. Throughout my youth, up until I was about 15 years old, my mom used to give me shit. You fucking fucker, you won't amount to anything. Quit playing the video games. Put their things down. You know, moms do that. If you play too much video games, I mean, some moms trip like 30 minutes of video games is too much. I did play a few hours a day, and it was a little bit excessive. And she used to grind me. Until this day, I introduced her into an MMO, which was called Night Online. And the first day she played it for 14 hours straight. No joke. Got home from work. Went to work the next day, and between that entire period, she was playing video games. So I just wanted to point that out there, that my mom's freaking awesome. And without further ado, I do want to let you guys know that there will be a TF2 item giveaway. You guys can check that out. I'll leave that towards the end of the video or down in the description below. But I'm thinking to kick off the new year, I'm going to do a giant giveaway. I'm going to give away one of my unusual hats and all the spare festives and the stranges that I have. I need to clear out my room and my inventory, and I'd love to be able to do that. So make sure you follow me on Twitter and Facebook, which will be down below, to find exactly when that's going to start, because I don't have an exact time. So you're going to have to follow me on those to find out when that does happen. But without further ado, let's talk to you guys about something. Now, one common question I get asked this all the time, Pone. And now since I've been pregnant, since my wife has been pregnant, guys, it's about the time I tell you I'm pregnant. A lot of people ask me, hey, Pone, what happens if your son's gay? I mean, what are you going to do? And people ask me that expecting like an outrageous response. I don't know if it's curiosity or fear of what they would do as a father, but I'm going to have a son. I'm going to love my son. I'm going to take care of my son. I'm going to be there for my son for any situation or, you know, deal or involvement that he gets in. And this is a very, very sensitive topic. And it's something that I think I'm, I guess, prepared for if it ever does happen. And in my mind, you know, there's a lot of arguments whether or not, I guess, homosexuality or being gay or lesbian or whatever is genetic. There are people that say they have reasons behind it, but even those guys that verify there are genes, not a certain gene, but certain genes that, you know, lean towards, you know, crafting and, you know, encouraging somebody to become homosexual or something like that. I don't know exactly how it is. But it's only supposed to influence like 40% of that. And the rest of it has to, you know, rely on, you know, what they deal with in the environment, people, what they're exposed to. And in all honesty, you know, if my son turns out gay, I'm going to love him no matter what. I don't care if he turns out gay. I may keep an extra eye on him if he has sleepovers, but you know what I'm talking about? Nothing really is going to change. But the biggest thing that I have to worry about with that is not him, but it's other people. I fear myself a little bit, and I fear other people. Other people aren't willing to accept anything different than them, anything that they're taught or exposed to. So a homosexual around them generally leaves people uncomfortable. And I'd like to say that I'm immune to that, and I'm not. Certain gay guys can really put me over the edge to where I'm uncomfortable. I went to H&M the other day with my wife in the mall. Saw a guy in yoga pants and this really wide open vest, and he had like no hair, but it was like combed over, and I was so uncomfortable next to him. I was, and I don't know what it is. I was kind of mad at myself for being uncomfortable, but it wasn't my fault. It's just certain things bother you, so it would tear me up to know that I would fear if my fun. And this is one of my old neighbors. I used to have, you know, certain gay guys I don't have a problem being around, but some of them that dress like women or act like extremely, you know, womanly. What my old gay neighbor used to call flippin' dolphins, when they were just, or you may know them as flamers or whatever you want to call them. Extremely excited and rambunctious, goofy, crazy gay guys. Those are the ones that kind of tip me off into an uncomfortable area. And it's no disrespect to them. They can do what they want. But that would be the moment where it'd be uncomfortable with me. Now, it's something that I would be able to adjust to and grow with my son. If he was actually going to be gay, I mean, obviously that would develop over time. He would find himself mature and everything like that, and I would be able to go along that slow path with him, and therefore I think I would become a little bit more comfortable around him. And Honestly, you really just, you fear what you don't understand. So if you've never been around a bunch of gay people or anything like that, you're naturally just going to fear them. You're going to think they're entirely different creatures. You're going to think they're disgusting. You're going to, you're going to freak out about that. But, I've been around a lot of gay people in my life, and there are only a couple of them that have ever put me into an uncomfortable zone. And a lot of people are like, hey, are you really going to worry about that? I'm not. I mean, if he wants to do whatever he wants to do, if he wants to do gymnastics, if he wants to, do, drag shows or something, I'd be there in the drag show supporting him. I know that sounds weird, but it's just different. It's not wrong, it's different. You got to understand that. So, if ever it does come to the point where, my son is gay, he'd know that it's a comfortable home. He'd know he'd be able to tell me. I will never ever shut my son out of anything. If he needs to talk to me, he ever needs advice, he needs some help, anything along the lines, I'm always going to be there for him. I've had my fair share of things. There was a kid in the neighborhood that was gay, and I'm really, really nice to all kinds of people. I definitely have a comfort zone. He put me out of my comfort zone because he asked if he could blow me while he learned. We were younger, and he said I was cute, and he wanted to learn how to give head on me, and I'm like, yo, unfriend on Bookface, bro. And it put me beyond my comfort zone. If you ever get hit on by a gay guy, it makes you uncomfortable, and it's just because it's fear. It's like it's hard to explain. It's just something goes on chemically inside of you, and you're like, no. And you want to just like flee from battle, It's just like, I got to get out of here. I've been in gay bars. I've dealt with stuff in my entire life. I've had a lot of gay friends. So gay people really do not upset me or anything like that. No, what people have to understand is they're people. If my son turns out gay and, it comes to the point where he wants to get married, husband and husband, though I'm not a big fan of supporting gay marriage, I'd be there for him because I'm going to support him. My son will always come first to me. And and would I be embarrassed about my son, even if he was, flipping dolphin or anything like that? No. I would probably be embarrassed with myself about not feeling comfortable around my own son. And that's one of the biggest fears that I have, is him doing something that I'm not comfortable with. And, it's just me adjusting. It's a fear within myself, not of him or any sort of disgust or anything like that. It's just something that I would have to learn to get used to myself. And another situation would be, like, if he wanted to, get involved in stuff like that, would I help him? But the biggest situation you have to worry about with gay people is how they're accepted, amongst society and people and communities. And they're usually looked down upon. People fear them. They won't want them in the office with them. Sports teams won't allow gay people on their, It's just like there's certain things that gay people are not allowed to do. And, people react differently around them or make the, work environment wrong. And I would never, ever want my son to be gay, not because I think it's wrong, but because that's a hard lifestyle. You're going to deal with people insulting you all the time, calling you fag, and dealing with you and bashing you, and people making fun of you, people being afraid of you, people pointing at you at the way you dress, people, and I do this myself. I'm guilty, and it's because I'm straight, but every time I notice a guy that's gay, I'm my wife, I'm like, it's like everybody has their gaydar on, as soon as you walk past a gay guy or something that hides it pretty well, you're like, that dude's gay, and you just nod it off. And so it's not like it's something else, but it's, you know what I mean? Everybody notices you, and that's a hard lifestyle. It's a really, really hard lifestyle because you are unique, you are different, and many people can get uncomfortable with that. I had a cousin that killed a guy simply because he was gay. He was extremely homophobic, and there was a guy at a bar that hit on him, and he killed him, left him in the dumpster. He's now serving life, and some people just can't deal with it. And, that's just something I wouldn't want my son to experience. So it's not I wouldn't want him to be gay. I just wouldn't want him to deal with those kind of struggles. That's back in the days, when blacks didn't get, proper rights and they were treated worse and wrong. That's how it is. There's a lot of things nowadays with gay people, opening up or anything like that. They're not accepted. And by the majority, it's not even like, there's a handful of people that are okay with gay people. And then there's some people that are like, if they're doing their own shit over there, I don't care. But things are changing. There are more and more people coming out. There are more and more gay and lesbians out there. And here soon, it's going to be a world where that's accepted. Bisexuals and everything like this, things go crazy. And there's nothing wrong with that. So as of right now, in the world, in the current state we live in, I wouldn't be happy with raising my son in this if he was gay, because I know the kind of trials and issues he'd have. And I wouldn't ever want my son to have an extra struggle or an extra, obstacle to deal with. And especially knowing that it's not your fault. I mean, I feel that people become gay because of things they experience. Like, I had a friend that was gay because, he grew up with his sister who was like 6 years older than him, and she was gay. So he was raised in a household where that was okay. And that's perfectly fine, like I said. But I think because he was exposed to that, because he saw, and he looked up to his sister, he thought it was okay, and he himself realized, hey, I want to be like her. And, you know, it's not, so I'm not saying it's a decision making, because no one would want to make a decision to make their life harder. But it's like when you know, like if you're living in a house and your mother and your father smoke weed right in front of you every day throughout the rest of your life, I bet you the odds of you smoking weed rather than parents that didn't smoke weed in front of their kids or didn't smoke at all would jump up by like 80% chance more likely that you would become, you know, smoking weed too. You know what I mean? That's just kind of like things you experience in or in your surroundings and everything like that is what kind of crafts you into the person you are. You know, you get mad at people when they do the mass murdering we talked about the other day. I'm mad at the parents. They could have done more for that son. And I feel the responsibilities on a lot of things. So I have no issues with gay people or anything like that. I don't have any problems whatsoever. I'm going to love my son. I'm not going to be afraid to hug him. I'm not going to be afraid to meet his boyfriends. We can still hang out and shoot. He may not be one of those guys. You know, there's not a lot of gay guys that like to play soccer and football. But, you know, we can still hang out, watch movies and stuff like that. I'm always going to be there for my son. I'm going to accept him no matter who he is. And I encourage everybody to be that way too. Because everybody is different. And just because his is looked down upon, which is wrong in the first place. It's just a flaw with people, not him. And I hate people having to deal with consequences on something that's not his fault. That's like the worst thing ever. That's like being blamed for something that's not your fault, like, you know, stuff like that. But that's my talk on it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this commentary. Again, I will be doing a video tomorrow for TF2. If you guys want to come hang out and play some open lobbies with us, I'll be giving away, like, I've probably got like 100, 200 things to give away. So check that out. I also got a show coming up soon. It's going to be a TF2 wager matches. I'm going to be doing some with Shibby and Jerma, some of these other guys. It's basically going to be like wager matches. We'll put like 5 keys on the line, do a duel. And it's going to be kind of mixed with the I Pick You Choose that me and Level Cap used to do, where I'll pick like the class and then he'll pick the Rockets or whatever he wants to do with it, and we'll just go through it and have a fun duel. But again, guys, I want to thank you for everything. I wanted to touch on this topic. It's kind of serious, but at the same time, it's just kind of, you know, just a talk to have with you guys. I want to see where you guys stand with it. If you were to grow up and your son was to be gay, how would you handle it? Understand there is no wrong reason. There's no wrong answer. If you would absolutely just completely abandon your son, I understand it. I may not approve. I may not like it, but I understand it entirely. I can understand how it would be so much or too much for one person, or they feel guilty. Like my father, he told me, you know, if I was going to be gay, he'd want nothing to do with me. Because he said he would feel responsible if I was gay. You know, he'd feel like it was his fault, and the blame would be on him, and he'd feel like a bad father. And that's another thing with genetics. I think, you know, even if genetics do play a part, it's not like dominant. But, you know, for the same reason, you'll see one gay sister and 6, you know, straight sisters in a family. I mean, it's not, if it was genetic, entirely genetic, then you would see entire families. We'd be an entirely gay, bisexual race right now if that was the case. So that's just what I wanted to say, guys. I want to thank you guys for watching. And remember to drop a like and a favorite on the videos. It does help out a lot. Peace out, guys. Get it.